Good morning, everyone. I came up with the next video based on the topic respiration in human beings of class 10. So, basically, what is respiration? Respiration is the oxygen we take in and the CO2 that we give out, right? That's not basically respiration, that is basically called as breathing, right? So, gaseous exchange is basically known as breathing, and out of that, if we supply some oxygen or some amount of energy is used up in breaking of food in our body, that is basically the whole process, including the exchange of gases till the digestion. Energy required for the digestion is known as respiration, right? So let's see, respiration involves exchange of gases, which we call as breathing. So breathing is just the exchange of gases, like intake of oxygen from the atmosphere and release of CO2 into the atmosphere. Then next is what is second is cellular respiration. Breakdown of simple food in order to release energy inside it. Right. So it is. I have told you. First one is breathing. The other one is breakdown of food, or that is the energy required for the digestion. So basically, oxygen that we take in is very much required in order to break down food into simpler substances by the cell. So that's we call as cellular respiration, because cells gain energy from this oxygen only, right, in order to carry out various life processes. So breakdown of glucose by various pathways. So glucose is going to be breakdown by various pathways. The first step in the breakdown of glucose is a six carbon molecule into a three carbon molecule called pyruvate, which helps takes place in the which takes place in the cytoplasm. First step is basically breakdown of glucose into pyruvate. So glucose is a six carbon molecule C6H12O6, and pyruvate is a three carbon molecule. The pyruvate may be converted into ethanol and carbon dioxide, which takes place in yeast during fermentation. So basically, what happens in this case is pyruvate is further going to be converted into ethanol and carbon dioxide during fermentation, right? Now this process has been further divided into three types. Pyruvate is going to break down from three separate processes. First one is fermentation, that absence of air or oxygen, right? We call it as anaerobic respiration also. The second step is the pyruvate is broken into three carbon pyruvate molecule in the presence of oxygen. So first one is absence of oxygen, the other one is presence of oxygen to get three molecules of CO2 and water. This process takes place in mitochondria. ये mitochondria के अंदर होता है. Since this process takes place in the presence of air, so this process is called aerobic respiration. So aerobic होता है presence of air में, और anaerobic you better know in the absence of air or oxygen, you can say. So the pyruvate is converted into lactic acid when there is lack of oxygen in our muscles. हमारे muscles cramps पड़ जाते हैं या muscles pain होते हैं. Why that pain occurs? Because of the lack of oxygen in our muscles, and due to which the lactic acid has been generated in our muscles, which causes sudden muscle cramps. See this diagram, it's a very simple diagram and it's very important to go along with this answer. So glucose in cytoplasm is converting into pyruvate, and that pyruvate can be converted into further energy forms by three different processes, like absence of oxygen, that is in yeast it will produce ethanol, CO2 and energy. And the second one is in the lack of oxygen in our muscles, that is lactic acid plus energy is released. And third one is presence of oxygen in mitochondria, that is carbon dioxide, water and energy is released. Now these three processes are quite important. Just draw this diagram. The energy released during cellular respiration is immediately used to synthesize the मॉलिक्यूल कॉल्ड एटीपी. अब ये जो एनर्जी सेलुलर रेस्पिरेशन के अंदर निकलती है, ये यूटिलाइज हो जाती है एटीपी बनाने में, विच इज यूज्ड एज फ्यूल टू अदर एक्टिविटीज इन द सेल. और वो एनर्जी जो एटीपी मॉलिक्यूल रिलीज हुआ, वो सेल अदर एक्टिविटीज के लिए उसे यूज करता है, राइट। तो सेल के लिए बेसिकली एटीपी मॉलिक्यूल एक फॉर्म ऑफ एनर्जी की तरह एक्ट करे, एक फ्यूल की तरह एक्ट करे इन ऑर्डर टू परफॉर्म इट्स वेरियस लाइफ फंक्शंस। In these processes, ATP is broken down, giving rise to a fixed amount of energy. So ATP आगे further breakdown हो रहा है और सेल को एनर्जी प्रोवाइड कर रहा है, which can derive the endothermic reactions taking place during the cell. And this is a kind of endothermic reactions because heat energy is involved in breaking down. Now next is the rate of breathing in aquatic organisms is much faster than in terrestrial organisms. अब aquatic organisms का rate of breathing तेज होता है terrestrial organisms से because उनके पास जो dissolved oxygen होती है water के अंदर वो काफ़ी low quantity में available होती है उनको as compared to the oxygen which is available in the air. So why that thing? Because अब वो कॉन्टिन्यूस रेस्पिरेट करते रहते हैं। अगर मैं फिश की बात करूं तो फिश ऐसा नहीं है जैसे हम लोग करते हैं, लाइक हमने ऑक्सीजन लिया, CO2 बाहर निकली कुछ टाइम के बाद, फ्यू सेकंड्स के बाद। नो, दे कंटिन्यू टेकिंग इन ऑक्सीजन from water because they have to basically consumed in water, then their body organs separate oxygen from water, and that oxygen is further required for performing various life activities. So ऑक्सीजन को वाटर से निकालने के लिए काफी टाइम लग जाता है। सो इन दैट केस दे कंटिन्यू टेकिंग इन water in order to extract oxygen from it, and they continue to use it. They never stop like we used to do। हमने ऑक्सीजन अंदर लिया, फिर हम रुक जाते हैं, फिर हम CO2 बाहर देते हैं पहले। नो, दे कंटिन्यू टेकिंग इन ऑक्सीजन एट continuous pace and continuous intervals, so बीच में कोई stoppage नहीं होता उस केस में। Types of respiration, there are basically two types that we have already studied: aerobic, that takes place in the presence of oxygen, and anaerobic, absence of oxygen. Aerobic takes place in mitochondria and it takes place anaerobic in cytoplasm. And products are CO2 and water. In this case, end products are alcohol or lactic acid. In this case, aerobic respiration, more amount of energy is released, and in case of anaerobic, less amount of energy is released. Next is human respiratory system. So that's the most important one. See this. After this, I am going to show an animated video based upon the same, and it will help you in understanding the whole process in a very good way. Okay, now see this. Don't see this diagram. First of all, see this nasal passage. Through this nasal passage, what you do is you take in oxygen, right? अब nasal passage के अंदर there are some hair-like structures. अब वो hairs क्या करते हैं? Basically, they are helpful in purifying the uh, oxygen that you are taking in or the air you are taking in. So how they are able to purify is जितने मैक्रो डस्ट पार्टिकल्स होते हैं तो वो उनको अपने साथ स्टिक कर लेते हैं, राइट। सो दे डोंट अलाउ दोस मैक्रो डस्ट पार्टिकल्स टू गो इन एंड हार्म यू। सो अब यहाँ से ऑक्सीजन अंदर गया, राइट, इनटू योर pharynx, देन larynx, आफ्टर दैट larynx इट वेंट टू द ट्रैकिया। अब ट्रैकिया में जाने के बाद, ट्रैकिया को हम बेसिकली विंड पाइप भी कहते हैं। यहाँ पे आप देख रहे हैं ये कुछ रिंग्स की तरह आपको दिख रहा होगा, दैट वी कॉल एज रिंग्स ऑफ कार्टिलेज। रिंग्स ऑफ कार्टिलेज क्या करते हैं? बेसिकली रिंग्स ऑफ कार्टिलेज प्रोवाइड मैकेनिकल सपोर्ट टू द विंड पाइप, राइट। अगर ये नहीं होंगे तो अगर आपका एयर प्रेशर के कारण विंड पाइप प्रेस हो गया तो दोबारा ठीक नहीं हो पाएगा, इट कैन लेड टू डेथ। सो रिंग्स ऑफ कार्टिलेज उनके साथ बाइंड अप होते हैं और उनको एक मैकेनिकल सपोर्ट प्रोवाइड करते हैं विच डू नॉट अलाउ देम टू कोलैप्स, राइट। सो ये विंड पाइप को कोलैप्स होने से बचाते हैं। Then after that, air travels in both the lungs. This is right lung and this is left lung, and you can see this. यहाँ पे अब जैसे एयर आई, दोनों लंग्स के अंदर जा रही है, दोनों लंग्स के अंदर जा रही है। There are two things through which it is entering. That is known as bronchi. So bronchi क्या कर रहा है? दोनों को पैसेज प्रोवाइड कर रहा है in order to give oxygen to the or transfer oxygen to the lungs. अब bronchi के आगे further ये आप देख सकते हैं further branches हैं, right? these are known as bronchioles. So bronchioles are the basically small parts of bronchi only that consist of alveoli sac-like structure. Alveoli sac-like structure क्या होता है? इसका एक बड़ा व्यू देखते हैं यहाँ पे. So these are basically the alveoli sac-like structure on the bronchioles. अब ये एक सर्कुलर शेप स्ट्रक्चर होता है, सर्कुलर शेप स्ट्रक्चर होता है और ये ज़्यादा एरिया प्रोवाइड करता है इन ऑर्डर फॉर द एक्सचेंज ऑफ गैसेस, राइट. अब इसने CO2 आपके अदर बॉडी पार्ट से जो आ रही है उसको एब्जॉर्ब करना और बाहर ट्रांसफर करना थ्रू द सेम पैसेज, एंड इसने जो ऑक्सीजन अभी अपने पास ले रखी है उसको आपके सेल्स को देना. दैट्स अ फंक्शन ऑफ एल्वोलाई, राइट. और इसके अंदर होता है क्या, अभी मैं आपको दिखाऊंगा एक एनिमेटेड वीडियो के थ्रू, राइट. वेट फॉर दैट. नाउ सी द functioning of all these parts. Nostril air is taken into the body. Nasal passage, it is a channel for airflow through the nose. And nasal cavity, it is a line with hairs and mucous membrane. I have already told you. ये क्या करता है, छोटे छोटे एयर पार्टिकल्स जो डस्ट पार्टिकल्स होते हैं उसको आपके लंग्स तक पहुंचने से रोकता है. बेसिकली इट हेल्प्स इन एयर फिल्ट्रेशन. So pharynx, it contains rings of cartilage which ensures air passes do not collapse. Basically windpipe को collapse होने से रोकता है. Rings of cartilage. So larynx, it houses the vocal cords and manipulates pitch and volume, which is essential for phonation. So basically a voice box होता है आपका larynx. Trachea. Pharynx splits into trachea and esophagus. It connects the larynx to the bronchi of the lungs. It provides air flow to and from the lungs for respiration. So trachea basically दो चीज़ों से connected होता है. एक तो आपके voice box है, and the other one is ये basically connected होता है voice box से and to the bronchi of the lungs. So basically it provides the air passes to the airflow and from lungs to for respiration. So bronchi क्या होता है, ये main passage है के अंदर जाने का, right, and they are the extensions of windpipe that shuttle air to and from the lungs. ये अब एयर को देते भी हैं, यानी कि ऑक्सीजन दे भी रहे हैं लंग्स को और CO2 ले भी रहे हैं. ऑक्सीजन goes to the lungs and CO2 leaves from the lungs to them. So bronchi get smaller when they reach closer to the lungs or tissues and are called bronchioles. So they are basically the passageways by which air passes through the nose or mouth to the alveoli of the lungs. अब ये basically lungs के अंदर की बात हो रही है, right? So जो छोटी छोटी branches होती हैं उन्हें bronchioles कहते हैं, and that branches contains the end part that is known as alveoli, and that alveoli they are basically attached to the blood capillaries. So alveoli are basically balloon-like or sac-like structures that provides a larger surface area for the exchange of gases. Like they allow oxygen to move from the lungs to the bloodstream and take in CO2 from bloodstream and transfer it to the lungs and then to the same nasal passage, and it excretes out. And CO2 will be excreted out in the atmosphere. So blood capillaries basically they are the sites of the transfer of oxygen and other nutrients from the blood streaming to other tissues in the body. So blood capillaries क्या कर रही हैं, यहाँ से ऑक्सीजन ले रही है लंग से, यानी कि एल्वोलाई से, एंड CO2 उसको दे रही है, राइट. एंड what it is doing is it is taking in oxygen, giving it to the all parts of the body, and basically all the cells of the body to perform various life functions, right. So now mechanism of breathing. What is breathing? Now here you came to know that breathing कैसे अलग है, पहले मैं आपको बता चुका हूँ, but in this it will be more clear. During inhalation the thoracic cavity expands. Inhalation जब हम करते हैं तो हमारी जो chest है, thoracic cavity जिसे हम बोलते हैं, expand हो जाती है because air उसके अंदर आ जाती है. Thoracic cavity contracts when exhalation occurs because air इसमें से बाहर निकल रही है. Ribs lift up in this case, the ribs move downwards in this case, and diaphragm becomes flat in shape, diaphragm becomes dome shape. अब because air कम हो रही है तो इसको expand तो हो नहीं सकता, तो ये dome shape बन जाता है. So volume of lungs increase and air enters the lungs, and volume of lungs decreases and air exits from the lungs, right? So today, see this diagram also of inhalation and exhalation. You can see this diaphragm is basically kind of flattened during inhalation, and this is kind of dome shape, right? So you can see one more thing. This lungs are expanded, and this is basically shrinked up kind of. Air is going in and air is exhaled out in this case. So ribs raise हो गई हैं, अब इसमें ribs आप देख रहे हैं अंदर की तरफ जा रही हैं, right? So these are basically few differences between both of them. Exchange of gases between alveoli, blood and tissues. Air-rich blood, which combines with hemoglobin and RBCs, and O2 is released in alveoli tissues, and CO2 is released in blood and dissolved into it. CO2 released in blood में and dissolved again carried by blood vessels. The carbon dioxide is released in alveoli sac, which is sent out through nostrils. This I've already explained. These two processes, that air क्या हो रही है, ऑक्सीजन आपके ब्लड स्ट्रीम में जा रही है, बेसिकली हेमोग्लोबिन में जा रही है, ब्लड के अंदर जा रही है, सेल्स को एनर्जी प्रोवाइड कर रही है, और सारे बॉडी पार्ट्स में सेल्स पर्टिकुलरली अपने लाइफ फंक्शंस को परफॉर्म कर रहे हैं. And CO2, which is basically taken from the bloodstream by the alveoli. अब वो alveoli ने क्या किया? Bronchials, bronchi, then trachea, then pharynx, larynx, and then through the nasal passage, उन्होंने वो CO2 को excrete out कर दिया. Right? Terrestrial organisms use oxygen for respiration, and organisms use dissolved oxygen for respiration. Right? Now this is basically what we call as respiration, right? Okay, so I'm not overing this lecture or video, but today I'm making you see another animated movie. Not a movie; it's a kind of animated video based upon respiration in human beings only. So watch it till the end once or twice, and you will able to understand the whole process of respiration which is going on in our body in a detailed manner. So thank you. Must watch that video that I'm going to add on. Just wait for a few seconds, 2 seconds, it will be going to start. Thank you and have a nice day. We will meet soon in
to understand the process of breathing. In humans, the main organs responsible for respiration are present in the thoracic cavity. In the thorax region, the rib cage and a dome-shaped fibrous tissue, known as the diaphragm, are observed. Present within the rib cage are the pleural membranes, which enclose the lungs. The right lung is divided into 3 lobes: the right superior, right middle, and the right inferior lobe. The left lung is smaller and has only 2 lobes, the left superior and the left inferior lobe. Both the lungs are associated externally with small tubular bronchi, which unite and extend into the trachea. The trachea has incomplete C-shaped rings of cartilage, which prevent the tracheal wall from collapsing. The trachea leads into the pharynx, which is connected to the nostrils. As we breathe in air, the oxygen molecules enter the nostrils and travel downwards through the pharynx and trachea to finally reach the bronchi. From each bronchus, oxygen travels into the lungs. Within the lungs, the bronchus divides repeatedly to form bronchioles. Oxygen travels through these bronchioles and reaches the alveoli, each of which is surrounded by a network of capillaries. A section of one alveolus shows the presence of numerous alveolar chambers with pores. Blood containing RBCs is seen flowing through the capillaries. The oxygen molecules from the alveolus diffuse into the capillary and then get absorbed by the bluish-purple RBCs. This causes oxygenation of the RBCs, and a transition in their color from bluish-purple to red is observed. The blood moving into the alveolus contains RBCs and carbon dioxide molecules. These molecules are released into the alveolus. The carbon dioxide collects in the alveolar chamber. And then from the alveolus, it travels through the bronchioles into the bronchus, which finally reaches the trachea, and is breathed out through the nostrils. So the process of breathing in air rich in oxygen is called inhalation. After the contraction of the muscular diaphragm, the lungs expand, and the air rushes in, resulting in the inflation of the alveoli. During exhalation, the diaphragm moves up and the lungs contract. Thus, the alveoli deflate, causing the air to be forced out. This exhaled air is rich in carbon dioxide. This process of inhalation and exhalation is known as respiration, which is approximately 20 times per minute. Summary. In the thorax region, the rib cage and the diaphragm are observed, which play a vital role in respiration. Present within the rib cage are the pleural membranes, which enclose the lungs. The right lung consists of 3 lobes, while the left lung has only 2 lobes. Both the lungs are associated externally with bronchi, which unite and extend into the trachea. As we breathe, the oxygen molecules enter the nostrils and travel downwards, through the pharynx and trachea, to finally reach the bronchi. From each bronchus, oxygen travels into the lungs. Within the lungs, the bronchus divides repeatedly to form bronchioles. Oxygen travels through these bronchioles and reaches the alveoli, each of which is surrounded by a network of capillaries. As blood flows through the capillaries, the oxygen molecules from the alveolus diffuse into the capillary. This causes oxygenation of the RBCs. The carbon dioxide molecules are released into the alveolus. They are collected in the alveolar chamber, and then from the alveolus, it travels through the bronchioles. Into the bronchus, which finally reaches the trachea and is breathed out through the nostrils.